There is none like you. None like you. There is none like you. Our God.
Hey everyone, get ready for another exciting episode of Mixing It Up with Meka with your girl, Shamika Gray. Hey everybody, welcome back to another amazing episode of Mixing It Up with Meka. I'm your girl, Shamika Gray, assisted by my beautiful co-host, Miss Deja Turnquest.
Hi, so today we have Mr. Gray, Mr. Mario Gray. He is an attorney. Mr. Gray, can you tell us about yourself?
Sure. Thank you for having me on the show.
My pleasure.
But my name is Mario Alfred Gray. I am actually the managing partner of the law firm V. Alfred Gray & Co. I've been practicing now for about 20 years.
Wow.
If I had to say what my specialty is, my master's is in international and commercial law, studied at the University of Buckingham. I am a member of the Honorable Society of Gray's Inn. I've just been doing my thing.
Wow.
Awesome. Okay, so Mr. Gray, can you tell us what does the law define as murder, with, I guess, in general or within the country or both?
Well, murder is, by definition, the unlawful killing of another person. There are some exceptions, as it were. For example, if you killed somebody but you are provoked, that would then fall more in the category of manslaughter, which is not quite the same as murder. It's still killing somebody, but there is a mitigating circumstance that could reduce it to manslaughter. Manslaughter itself actually has a separate definition where it's still the unlawful killing of somebody, but it's when there is negligence involved. In other words, you didn't intend to kill the person, but
More in
this is
self-defense, almost?
well, self-defense is a defense. It's something different altogether. So, as far as self-defense goes, you can have a situation where somebody is trying to break into your home, or successfully breaks into your home, and is armed with a knife, and a struggle may ensue, and you end up killing the person. That's where you can argue self-defense. You are defending yourself, your family, your property, or whatever the case may be. So that would not constitute murder in the strict definition of it.
Okay. Makes sense. Funny thing is, I had an interest in crime, but I didn't like school that much. So I gave it to my, funny thing is, our guest host is actually my brother. So I left that to him to study the law for us. So Deja, you have next
So,
question?
Mr. Gray, for our next question, we'll be asking, if one is charged with murder, what could be some of the defenses that he could advance in the courts against being convicted?
Well, as we just mentioned, self-defense is probably the biggest one, because you have a reason for why you killed the person, basically. But a lot of times, other defenses that are proffered or used in murder cases would be things like alibi. In other words, I can't be the person who committed this murder because I wasn't in Nassau. I was in Freeport, or I was in another country. In other words, I was someplace else when this thing occurred. So alibi is a defense as well. And then you can have situations where the defendant may have to rely on other witnesses to say, so for example, we're in here right now, something happens, I kill you, right? That's what they say. That's
I'm
what
sorry.
they say. They say I kill you,
Right.
but she's here as a witness. The evidence may suggest that, oh, you and I had a struggle and I killed you. But she may be the witness to say, well, actually, while I was in the kitchen or on the other side of the room, I saw somebody else come in and do it. And so that may be a part of my defense as well. So it's that would not have a specific name, but witnesses can be used to create or build a defense or support a defense as well. But one of the interesting things about defendants in a lot of these cases is that they don't always tell you the whole story the first time.
Of course.
You know, as attorneys, you have to kind of gauge them. You know, when you ask, so what happened? I mean, I'll give you an example of a situation where I had a client who, when I first met him, he was adamant. He had nothing to do with this. He don't know what the police talking about. Everybody just lying on him, and you know, it was that kind of denial. Eventually, the video came out, and
Well?
in true color, it was him. And then the story changed to, well, you'd see, Gray, what happened was this, and man, I was drunk, and I was this, you know. So it became a different thing. So you know, even with dealing with defendants, sometimes you have to gauge whether you really believe their story or not. But I always try to tell my clients, look, if you don't give me the information, I won't be able to defend it.
Right.
Because I can't defend something I don't know about. And so that's one of the things you have to deal with when dealing with defendants of that nature.
I'm so grateful that you're able to teach us about this because
I agree.
apparently Netflix wasn't teaching me enough.
Well,
That's probably true too.
All of the
Netflix
series that
is-
I've been watching, and I just haven't seen so much of insightful information on
Yeah.
Netflix.
Yeah, well, let's put it like this. TV law is not real law. I mean, you know, as an attorney, sometimes I watch these shows like Law and Order and, you know, and I watch the courtroom performance. And I'm like, that will never happen in a real court. You know, it's, you know, I guess it's almost like for a doctor watching a medical show.
Grey's Anatomy.
You know, Grey's Anatomy, where they never lose a patient or very rare, and then it's like everything just falls into place, you know, at the right opportunity or the right time, and that's not how the real world functions. Yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Gray, another question I have is with all the different, I guess, types of crimes there are, what would you say between murder, rape, divorces, whatever the case may be, what would you say is your most favorite?
Well, it's funny you would say divorce is a crime. I mean, legally it's not a crime, but I'm
Right.
sure there are a lot of people or couples who would wish that divorce was a crime. But I mean, as far as what is prevalent in society, I mean, it's any myriad of offenses. I think one of the things that society, and when I say society, I'm really basing this on, you listen to a lot of the talk shows and you listen to comments in the, you know, social media is a big thing now. And, you know, you often hear these comments of, oh, these lawyers getting all these criminals out on bail, or the police, what the police doing to stop murder, or even what the government doing to stop murder. But
Right.
one of the things I think is lost is that murder is something that no one can prevent other than the people who are there at that time. Again, as an example, the three of us are here. If I get up and decide to kill any one of you, how is the police going to stop that?
Right.
How is the government going to stop that? We as attorneys, I mean, even the police officers, we don't get involved until after the
It's
crime is
already
done.
happened, right.
So it's difficult to put that blame at the foot of the police officers or the attorneys or even the government, you know, because when these things happen, we're not there. You know, and unfortunately, people like to shared responsibility, you know, because as a society, it's the home, it's the family, it's the raising of the children. That's where you kind of shape one's mind and their ethics and their values and their views to say, hey, look, I wasn't raised like this. I know that killing someone is wrong. Do I
Right.
really want to go down this road?
Yeah.
No, I'd rather walk away. Like, That's not the government's responsibility.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
not the police responsibility, and it's certainly not the court's responsibility because
Yeah.
ultimately they are the last people involved. And when I say that, the court,
True.
because the police will do their investigation, they may make an arrest. When the person is arrested, the person will call their lawyer. If they are eventually charged, then they're taken to court. So to say that, oh, the judges this and the judges letting these people, it's not like that. And I think there is a huge misconception on the way that the judicial system works. And, you know, we face a lot of challenges, whether it be manpower, and I'm talking about the police force, enough spaces or enough courts, enough judges, enough prosecutors, resources with respect to whether DNA evidence is required. You know, it's a lot that goes into getting a trial off the ground to completion. So, you know.